Um, Now, again, looking at your credits, I see that you've got quite a lot of credits there, and you've been working with Dallas. You've worked with Dallas Jenkins several times over the last 20 years now, apparently. Um, and so, I mean, you were there in the very first episode of The Chosen. You were there right at the beginning. And so, like, to what degree was Dallas sort of calling in favors from all his friends to work on this crowd-funded show that he hoped would have financing for a full season? Or like, how did you get roped into doing The Chosen with him?
You're right. I've known and been friends with Dallas for over 20 years, and I've been fortunate enough to basically be in everything he's done. And, one of the most honorable and loyal men I'll probably ever know, and love him and his family. And we've been doing stuff forever, short films. A couple of times I slept in the basement, and we just wanted to make good content. And so he's been doing this a long time. I've been doing it a long time, and he gave me a call and he said, I'm doing this thing called The Chosen. Would you be interested in doing it? I'm like, absolutely, anything for you. So I auditioned, and um, it wasn't just his decision. There are other people involved. And so I was lucky enough to get hired, and I had no idea. I don't know if he was calling in favors. It's an honor and a blessing to be working as an actor. And so when somebody calls you up and says, "Hey, I'd like you to do this," that's the best ever. Or they just offer you things. That's like the holy grail for actors. You don't have to run around and audition. You just get offered things and you can decide. So yeah, I was just blessed and grateful to be there, having no idea what it would turn into. We did the first 4 episodes and in 2018, and then I think it was a year before we did the next four, something like that. I've lost track, honestly. And so now in season three, I think even in season four, I think it's going to be more. Everything is getting tighter and tighter and bigger. So yeah, that's where it started. I just wanted, yeah, help a friend and be honored and grateful to be working as an actor.
Right. Did you audition for this one, or did he actually have a part for you when he came to you, or did you have to sort of do the audition process to sort of figure out who you would play?
He wanted me to play this character called Gaius. And so I
Mhm.
got the material from the casting director, and I went in and auditioned. He came out to LA for those auditions, and I just auditioned. So no, I didn't choose the character. He chose the one that he would like me to play, but I had to audition for it. Yeah, I don't, like I said, he just didn't have the full authority to make the decision. There were other people involved. And so, but yeah, I guess he was pulling for me, so that helped.
Okay. Oh, it was other people. Because I was just going to say, I mean, if you've worked with him on like half a dozen things already at that point, I mean, he would kind of know what's in your skill set. But you had to convince other people.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, there is.
Okay.
It doesn't matter what he thinks of my skill set. I mean, it does matter. The reality today, I mean, maybe that's a fallacy that people have, but the reality of today is, you know, just because he brought me in doesn't mean I automatically get the role unless he is has power over the whole thing, and he didn't. So there are other people
Right.
involved, and if you're a producer, we want you to go, oh yeah, that guy's good. You want things to be in agreement so that there's not weird disagreements over casting or anything else. So
Right.
it's no different. Doesn't matter how much I've done. That happens a lot, more than you know. You just think some actors get offers, but no, they have to do chemistry reads. They have to meet with the director. Big names. This happens all the time to just see if things are correct. Not often do you just get handed something.
Now, the character that you're playing in The Chosen isn't so far a character from the Gospels. There's a hint in the trailer for season three that he might turn out to be a character that we've seen in the Gospels, and I don't know if you want to confirm that or not, but certainly what we've seen so far in the first two seasons, he's just a Roman, just a Roman soldier. It could be anybody, and was playing the character. I mean, you're surrounded by all these characters that we all know very well, and what was that like, sort of playing a character, like creating a character for which there is no template beyond just the sort of generic, he's a Roman soldier?
What was that like?
Well, I mean, like was it freeing? Was it yeah, like did you have sort of room to explore? You've got these other actors who are playing iconic characters that they have to conform to an audience's expectations. Whereas, I mean, in the case of Gaius, he's basically just a Roman soldier, and he's not even like the top Roman soldier. So, I mean, we expect them to be villains, and but your character isn't or doesn't seem to be.
Right. Well, I think that's the nature of the show is that nobody's following any pattern that existed before, whether it's Simon or Matthew. Nobody. What template? I think that's part of the allure of the show is that all that's been broken, and so Gaius is no different. And the idea is to bring a humanity to each character that no one had ever seen before. So sure, there are some things in the gospel that need to be followed, but in general, the mold has been completely broken, in my opinion. That's part of what makes the show what it is. Nobody is up on the pedestal anymore with a big beard, and it has to be looked up to. These people, Matthew is on the autistic spectrum. He has OCD. Really? Is that in the Bible? I don't think so. So I think that's the nature of the show. So it wasn't any different for Gaius.
Okay. What's it been like working with Paris on developing that relationship between Matthew and Gaius? I mean, I hate to admit this, but I haven't rewatched season one lately, and it's been a few months, and I can't remember exactly when the relationship between the characters has evolved to the point where we really get a sense of the concern that Gaius has for Matthew. And I can't recall if that was really there right from the beginning of season one or if that was more of a second half of season one kind of thing.
I think it
Certainly
develops. I think it
yeah.
develops over time. Nobody thinks they're a bad guy. I have a job to do. Matthew has a job to do, and if I'm working with somebody all day, every day, I would treat them with respect. I would have to. If I'm working with you 5 days a week, and I'm your boss, and I have authority over you, if I treated you like a jerk, that just wouldn't work because I got to be around you all day. So I don't want negativity, right? That's just human nature. So that's the way I approached it. That uh, that we would have a working relationship. Now, over those 2 seasons, that has developed because of circumstance. He wants to go in and talk with Quintus, tell him he made a mistake. No, you don't. You don't want to go in that office. He's going to kill you and me. I've seen him do it. So you don't want to do that. But he does it anyway. We kind of get caught flat footed there outside of his office. Now I'm involved. So it's just progressed. And as a result of the progression, a relationship builds only naturally. My job is to serve and protect, serve Rome and protect Matthew, protect that gold, protect the Republic and defend it. And so I'm doing that. And in so doing, you start caring about somebody. It's too easy to vilify people. It's just not true. I think the Bible vilifies Rome, but that's just not true. Rome was doing a lot of amazing things: roads, infrastructure, medicine, water, clean water. Yeah, they came in, and it's all debatable, but there are good and bad Romans, and there are good and bad people of the time. Doesn't matter. That's the way I see it.
Okay. So reminiscent of Monty Python's Life of Brian, the old "What have the Romans ever done for us" scene. You know the scene?
I forgot. I remember that it's been a long time, but I forgot the scene. No,
Okay. Oh, Uh, the zealots are anyway. I won't get into it. We haven't got time, but it's funny. Um, the uh, Now your character, I think in the first two seasons, every time we see him, he's in his Roman uniform. He's wearing the armor, if I'm not mistaken. Whereas
it
season
started
three,
off as leather, and then when I became a premium ordinary, then it turned into the metal.
oh, okay, but he's always in his business suit or business attire, as it were. Whereas
Uniform.
in the trailer for season three, I believe we see you wearing more domestic clothing. And
Correct.
again, I don't know if you want to confirm what the trailer seems to be hinting at. Um,
I will be in major trouble if I say too much. But yeah, that is correct. I'm in my street clothes for sure. My Roman
well,
attire.
that much we can say this much based on the trailer that we see you in your off-duty clothes. So I mean, so that suggests at a minimum that we're going to get a different side to your character. The so what was it like expanding the role in that sense? Just playing perhaps some of the private life, home life, whatever of the character.
Absolutely cool and fantastic, because you're right. You know, you're going to be different right now than you are when you hang out. You're going to be
Hmm.
different at the dentist's office. You're going to be different when you're at the grocery store or when you're kicking it in the living room. We've only seen Gaius at the tax booth and in his boss's office, basically. In season 2, you got to see me outdoors and arrest Jesus and have a conversation with Atticus. But yeah, you really haven't seen me in other situations. The writing, the story has not allowed you to see anything but that. So Gaius, Kirk, he's going to be a certain way at work. And yeah, he's going to be different in other scenarios. So season 3 will definitely explore the different sides, I guess you could say. And it's no mystery what you see in the trailer.
Right.
Clearly you're gonna see Gaius in other situations that you haven't seen him before. I think that's fair to say.
Okay. Um, Mildly curious as to what you make of the fact that are you, it sounds like you're basically speaking with your own voice when you're in the show. Most of the actors have to put on sort of Middle Eastern accents, so they all sound like they come from the Middle East, and but the Romans don't. And um, th- is that a relief to you, or do you kind of wish you could do the accent thing, or
I mean, you know, I've done many accents in my life. I don't know. It just doesn't matter, right? I love doing accents. I'm of German descent. I played Russians and Germans and British and Cockney, and I've been gratefully doing this for like 36 years, making my living as an actor. So on the stage or on screen, it's all good. Yeah, it's all good. So it just whatever it is, that's what you do as an actor. The one thing I wish I didn't have to do was shave.
shave?
Yeah, no, who shaves on that show but the Romans? Everybody else
Oh,
has
okay.
beard and scruff. It sucks. I don't want. I have to shave every morning before I go to set. Those guys don't have to. They got it made because shaving I never have clean. It's all like this or longer. So it's not a complaint. It's just that it would be cool if I didn't have to shave.
Wow, that's kind of the opposite of what a lot of actors do, where you see them growing their beards out for months before they even start shooting just to get ready for a role. And
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it's easier. It's just too much. I mean, you have a beard. I don't have to tell you. Having to shave every day is work. And if you have a beard, you can kind of trim it once a week and you're good.
Right, right.
But no complaints at all. It's an honor and a blessing to be there, and it's great to be a part of something so amazing.
Yeah. Your character, Centurion, like basically, there's been some speculation, like are the Roman characters we see right because they're stationed in Galilee, or the Romans that we've seen so far are stationed in Galilee. Jesus will eventually be crucified in Jerusalem. Has there been any discussion? Like I know there's been speculation among the fans about what we're going to see the centurions doing down the road, how involved they're going to be. Do you have any thoughts on that? I mean, obviously, if you knew anything, you couldn't tell me, or you'd have to kill me. But
I don't know if I'd kill you,
any,
but I'd be in trouble.
all right. But I mean, do you I don't know, where do you see Gaius going after this? Like after this season, what do you can he continue to be a centurion after the events of this season, or can he um like can he continue to be a Roman working for the Roman Empire as things progress?
Yeah, I'm going to be really, really honest. I have no idea.
Okay.
I'm serious. It's a joke between Dallas, not a joke. Sometimes it's frustrating. Dallas doesn't tell me anything.
Oh,
I am, part of me wants to ask, well, what happens next? He doesn't tell me anything in many ways. I like it that way. I had no idea when I started that first scene with Matthew where he says, "You're late, Gaius," that I would be where I am in season 3. And so I personally like that as an actor. I want to take it as it comes. I have no idea. I have no power. I wish I had some control, but I don't. I can't force somebody to make. I have no control. I'm an actor. I'm a guest in somebody else's party. Dallas and the guys are writing this and creating it. It's their house. And when I'm invited to dinner, I'll show up with a bottle of wine and I'll be a respectful guest and I'll thank them for the meal and I'll take my shoes off if you want me to, whatever the rules of the house are. So I'm a guest. So I'm grateful and blessed for everything. And I really honestly have no idea. I'm curious, but I've never asked, you know, I have no idea. I never really asked. I kind of sometimes allude to it with others, but I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. One last question, perhaps. I'm not really sure how much time we have left here, but curious what kind of feedback, what kind of responses you've had from viewers, not just fans, but just viewers, people who've seen the show. A lot of Some of the people I've spoken to, whether actors or directors, they've talked about responses they've gotten from Christians and others who've talked about how it's affected their faith or whatever. And that makes sense when you're talking about people who play disciples and so forth. You're playing somebody who's outside the religious sphere of the show, in the sense that you're not playing a follower of Jesus. You're not playing somebody who embodies the faith that the show is there to sort of promote. So when people view the show and if they make the connection and they say, "Oh, you're the Roman guy," like what kind of feedback do you get? Does anybody, but still there are things like your friendship with Matthew that come through. What kind of feedback do you get from viewers when they make the connection that it's you who plays the guy?
What seems to stand out is people really enjoy the relationship that I have with Matthew. And they appreciate the fact that I've not vilified the Roman. And it's actually opened their eyes to the reality of how life really works. So I think that people are responding to that. And I take great pride in that because that's what I intended, is to be human and not to vilify. Dallas, too. Doesn't like vilifying anybody. So we took great effort not to vilify him. So I'm involved, but I'm not. And I think that perspective is unique in the show. I'm a guy who's a Roman who has a relationship with a believer. So what's going to happen there? That to me is interesting. It's very interesting because I clearly I have a connection there. So where's that going to go? What's going to happen with that? You know what I mean? How is that going to develop? So I feel like Gaius is a constant reminder of somebody on the outside who's looking in maybe a little bit. And
Right.
I think that's really, really cool. So I'm involved, but in a different way that nobody else on the show is. I'm peering over with curiosity. I think that's hopefully, I think it's been clear with all that I've done is that what's up, certainly in the scene where I arrest Jesus, I say, what do you have to offer? Like, what is it with you that makes,
Yeah.
what's going on? And he says, we'll talk about it later. It just annoyed me, the character under those circumstances. I want to know, like, what? So I think that is a unique perspective and a constant reminder for all of us not to vilify somebody. The Bible vilifies Romans, and here's a Roman that's going, what's going on over there? And so I do feel like I'm involved, honestly, but just in a different
Okay.
way.
Sure. Um, well, and one other thought occurs to me that, I mean, in terms of the development of your character and where the show can go with them, there is perhaps a bit of a limit as to where they can go with the character, because if you know your New Testament, Romans weren't formally accepted into the church until Acts chapter 10, when Cornelius is baptized by Peter. And so far, there's nobody on the show called Cornelius, so that hasn't been foreshadowed yet. But that arguably places some sort of boundary that the show, if it's going to stay in the time period of the Gospels, can't quite, like
So
Gaius.
what are you trying to tell me, that I'm going to be kicked off the show?
No, 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 but perhaps put in a holding pattern. I don't know.
That's the other, I'm joking, of course. That's the other part of all of this, is that, look, it is based on the Bible. Dallas went to Bible college. He works with all denominations to make sure the scripts are as accurate as possible. At the same time, we're telling a story, and there is freedom within that story, which is part of the charm for me for the show. This didn't intend to be a school lesson, I don't think.
Right.
This is dramatic arts. And so in that, there is freedom. So whatever they decide to do with me, whether I'm Roman or not, or what I deal with and where I go and how it plays out, I
Great.
I just think there's possibility for anything.